One of the coolest things that I love to see is to look up in the sky and the moon is out in the daytime. Not sure why in particular I am fascinated by that, but it makes me smile. Has me thinking that a productive night owl like me can still do great things during the day. One of the many wonderful blessings the Most High has created that assures me this world is bigger than man. What's up, good people? Thank you for clicking play on another episode of Big Man, Tiny Kingdom. If you've been following the podcast, then you may recall that I mentioned I would begin sharing more than stories about my camping and minimalist life because there is so much more to me. Not only do I enjoy being out in nature and dwelling in tiny living spaces, I love what I do in my career. I love where I came from and where I am wanting to go. For a couple decades or more, I was a music performer and producer, which I still dabble in from time to time. I am a published writer, an award-winning visual artist, a first-team all-state high school and collegiate basketball player, a business owner, and I'm also a son, a brother, a father, a grandfather, and unfortunately, a divorcee. I have been a lot of things in my young 50 years, but keeping it 100 with myself, there are times when I feel small, weak, unsure, incomplete, anxious, overwhelmed. Since this is my platform to share, I am choosing to use this time to not just tell you the fun adventure stuff. I feel it's my responsibility to make those I come in contact with, whether it be in person or virtually through this podcast or social media, and especially to my sons, who I'm sure don't listen to this, but it's still here for them if they are ever interested. I feel compelled to let people know that I've struggled. Life hasn't been exactly what I hoped it to be. I have my disappointing moments. I cry occasionally, not very often, but it happens. And I feel it's okay to be vulnerable in that way with myself. I usually keep my emotional stuff very private and only share mental health things with a small group of people. But I do share. I feel good about releasing it to them. And I think even with saying that, it's important that I choose the right people to divulge those conversations. Those individuals need to be strong enough to receive that transformation of energy so that they are taking it in and it doesn't affect them negatively. I also believe that meditation and journaling are helpful. Slowing down your thoughts, taking time to reflect, something about that revitalizes me to just lay back and think. I think about what is working great for me and I talk myself through it. What activities I can do more of that allow me to keep working on those great things. I think about what's not working. I ask myself why it didn't. What role did I play in causing it to fail? What I won't be doing anymore. And again, what activities I can do more of that allow me to turn stuff that isn't working into things that will. Recently, I was feeling abnormal. When I woke up, I just had this ooze flowing through me where my thoughts were pulling me into a space that had some funk to it. It was about 5 a.m. I laid in bed, ready to stay in my PJs all day. Wasn't interested in the phone, wasn't interested in the TV. At this point, I still had my blinds down. I saw that the day was beginning to break. So I lifted the blinds and I looked out of the window for about 30 minutes. My thoughts were all over the place, questioning what my purpose was. Who am I? Why care? Why try? What's next? When will it make sense? I wasn't speaking to the Most High. I was just trying to think it through for myself. After I snapped out of all that, my next thought was to go for a drive. And then somehow I told myself to visit a park. So I got out of bed, got ready for the road, and I decided that my destination would be Buffalo Park in Flagstaff, Arizona. It made sense to hang out in Flagstaff on that day because it was going to be 106 degrees in the part of Arizona where I live, whereas the high for Flagstaff was only 84. And with the record-breaking heat wave going on this summer already, needless to say, an escape from the hot weather was fine by me. The drive to Flagstaff is about 2.5 hours from Mesa. About 30 minutes into the drive, I already started to feel better. Had some music blasting, singing along to it, taking in as much of the sights as I could. One thing I miss out a lot on is always being the driver. There are so many beautiful things to check out during a road trip that I never get to look at for too long because I need to pay attention to the road. I yearn for the day to attach myself to an activities partner that can share in on the driving. By the time I made it to Flagstaff, I had a burst of energy. I was excited and ready to walk around. Buffalo Park is 215 acres, which includes a little over 2 miles of walking trails. There are picnic areas and ramadas you can reserve for day use, and some spectacular views of Mount Eldon and also Arizona's tallest peak, Mount Humphreys. I completed one of the trails, taking my time to work out at most of the exercise stations that are throughout the park, walking at a slow pace, doing breathing exercises, and allowing my mind to wander wherever it chose to, while I soaked in the views of the mountains, forest trees, plant life, and open range that flow throughout Buffalo Park. By the time I was halfway through my trail walk, my emotional state was just where I wanted it to be. What I needed at that moment was to get outdoors, get some fresh air, see some nature. After my walk, I took out my portable grill and had myself a picnic lunch, chilled back in my camping chair, set up my shade screen tent to keep some of the sun and bugs off of me, pulled out my tablet and watched a movie. About 3 o'clock, I headed back to Mesa, stopped at one of those drive-through liquor stores, got me some wine coolers, and capped off my night by watching the WWE wrestling pay-per-view. That day was therapeutic, even without me knowing that it was. I already knew that nature was medicine for me, and I love that I take in a dose of it every chance I get.
AK, you're crazy.
For my sons and other loved ones, and for anyone that may need to hear this, whether you realize it at this moment or not, have you taken your medicine today?
AK, you're crazy.
Do you recognize what it even is? If not, find out and start enjoying it as much as you can. Be sure you are doing your part, that you are always living life real big. Keep it kosher, good people. This is Big Man, Tiny Kingdom.